Hey guys, this is going to be a quick how-to on a 2008 Lexus ISF, how to change your brake pads in less than, I'd say, half an hour for all four once you got the wheels off. Anyways, there's the standard jack point. It's right there, just in front of the oil pan, and you'll see they put a nice little jack mount there. Got the wheel off. Once you got the wheel off, what you're going to want to do is turn the key on and turn the steering wheel to where your caliper is angled out. So in this case, I'll turn the steering wheel towards the right. Hang on, and I'll be right back with you. Alright. So once you've got the caliper turned out so you can access it and see inside, here is what we're working with. You've got these, got this pin right here. I'm not sure why that's not focusing. Got this pin right here. This pin right there, and you can see somebody was pretty careless with the last brake job or one of the previous brake jobs, and that yields stuff like that and that. Anyway, so you take these two pins out and you start off by removing this clip right here, and this is the pin retainer clip. So what you do, you take a great big flathead and go in here like this. You press in and push up. Press in, push up, and eventually this piece right here is going to come up and out, and I have to pause this to be able to do this because I need two hands. So here's the clip after I pried it past this. It does take some muscle power to do. Once you've got it past, bend this back up just a little bit. That's going to give you better retention here. Then you just simply angle it out and slide this up. Next up is either of the two pins, the retaining pins. So what I do, I use a soft rubber surface to do that. Then I hammer it until I see this peak, the very point of that, go flush. I'll pause and be right back with you. Alright, so use my little tool here. It's actually just a screwdriver, and I used the soft side of it and hammered the pins back. This one actually shut out. I've already done these brake pads. I'm just doing this one more time for you guys for your benefit. Then what you're going to do, you're going to pull these pins out. Okay. And then what I do, and this is a trick of mine, I don't know how many other people do it this way. A lot of people kind of get the horse in front of the carriage, in my opinion. So I place a towel here. Paper towel works fine. Put your paper towel here to protect the paint, and then you take pliers of some sort, and you grip the pads, and you squeeze them this way ever so gently. Make sure you don't make any sideways motions. You don't want to damage the paint on the caliper. And what you're doing is you're squeezing the inside, the pistons. You've got 3 pistons on each side, so you got to squeeze this piston back, and this piston back. And just by doing the top and bottom, that's going to give you the space you need to get the clearance. You can see how freely my pads move because I've moved the I've moved the pistons back into their recesses. You can see this little lip right here on my rotor. that's okay, actually. You're not supposed to have much of a lip. Mine's very flush, but even a very slight lip is going on your rotor is going to keep your pad, as you can see. It'll just make it really difficult to get the pad out, and you'll have a hard time. This makes it so easy, and when you go to put your pads back in, the pistons won't be extended, and your pad will just slip right in. Not to mention taking them out is literally that easy. So next up, you're going to get a 13mm socket. You're going to bust that off. And then I take my short but rather large screwdriver, and after I've got this nut off, put this into the hole, into the socket. You hammer it out. Everything, the pads will just slide out. Okay, you do one pad at a time. Do not ever do more than one pad. Put the new pad in before you pull out the next old pad. The reason for this is if you need to depress those pistons some more, you're just going to squeeze the opposite side's pistons out, and you're going to be fighting yourself. And that's not helping anything. So always do one pad at a time. And make sure you lubricate the new pads that are going in. Put the lube onto the piston side of the pad, not on the caliper, not on the rotor side, obviously. You'd be surprised. I've actually seen that before. But anyways, I cite my first brake job I ever did several years ago with my dad. He had no idea, and neither did I. Anyways, so that's so bad. Anyways, when you've got the calipers out, okay, or when you've got the pads out, you also want to inspect the dust boots that are around each of the pistons. There's a dust boot, and I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to get this back out so everybody can see it and see what a healthy dust boot should look like. Alright, we're back. Here's the pad pin, the main caliper. It's like a reinforcement bar. So you stick this screwdriver in here and you just jam it out. If it slides out, that's awesome. You'll probably get caught up again on the next one. Alright, so you pull the pad out and it'll just slide out. Nice lubed pad, by the way. Make sure and not get any of that on the pad surface, like I said. So, I'm going to take a peek at the dust boots. Hang on one second. I want to set my pad down and get my pad dirty. So I'm going to get the light over on the other side here. Alright. So there's what, it's kind of hard to see. I'm not sure if this is coming in correctly or if it looks right. But they're dirty. That's fine. But you look at those little grayish, brown, I'm not sure what color they're coming through at with all this whitewash from the camera. But you can see those little rings that surround the pistons. You want to make sure those aren't cracked, okay? If those are cracked, it's time for a caliper rebuild. Alright, so these guys go back in. And it should just slide right back in. Alright, once you've done that, do the top one first. And I always put the pins in one time to make sure that the pads are lined up, which I have pushed this pad in just a little bit too far. Okay. And then I'm not too worried about what the paint looks like on the back side of the caliper. So I'll take the hammer and I just put it all the way back in, just like that. Alright, next up is the reinforcement bar. So you could see if you don't put it in just straight, it's going to damage the paint on the front, and that's the side I'm worried about. So I get it in just initially. Go slow on this part, guys, because otherwise you're going to get it all chipped up like whoever did my brake job the first time did. Once you've got it mostly in, it's probably going to get stuck right about here. Just make sure you got it straight and ever so gently tap on it with your hammer. If you've got a shot peen hammer, that's really great because you don't have to use as much force and you don't have to use as many strikes. So, shot peen hammer, put it just, I actually grip it right at the top for a little bit of accuracy, and I just, boom, it goes right in. Piece of cake. Put the bolt back in, okay, and then once you're done with that, I'll be right back and I'll give you the rundown with the next one. Alright, we're back. Now going to do the lower one. Wanted to point out how far it goes in. You'll see, just start to begin to see the end, the tapered end. So, get this through. I actually put this all the way in, make sure that it's all aligned. I get it to right there, and then remove it. And then I put my pin retaining clip back in. Put my pin retaining clip back in. Guys, this is going to take 2 hands to do the rest of this. But what you do is, you feed this through to the first half. Alright, and then I need 2 hands, so I can't show you this part. But you just push this down and you work it through. Once you've got it somewhat through, you are going to need to continue to hold downward pressure, and then while you're holding that downward pressure, give this a couple of strikes, and that's going to get it all the way through. When you feel it bottom out, make sure that it's not the side of your caliper you're striking. You're done. You're actually all done. Alright, so here's the finished product. What you want to see is, you can see these little ridges, okay? And you want to make sure, it's kind of hard to see from this angle, but you want to make sure you can see this ridge. This one's dirty, so it's kind of a little bit more difficult to see. You want to make sure those ridges are recessed, the pin retaining clip is recessed in between them, and that there's ample pressure from the spring onto those pins. That's going to keep your pins from ever backing out. If you get a set of pins that do not have these recessed indentations on them, throw them in the trash. They will back out. Alright, so that's it with that. Here's our bolt all in there and nice and tight. By the way, that bolt has locking tape on it. It's only a single use. I will warn you, it's single use. So you're not supposed to reuse that. I am going to be taking my pads and putting pads in and out between track days. I'm going to be using a thread locker myself. Alright, so next up, go back into the car. Do not start the car when you turn the steering wheel, by the way. And go ahead and straighten it out. Straighten out your steering wheel and put your wheel back on. You need a torque wrench to torque your lug bolts to 76 foot-pounds. And that's it. One final note, guys. Once you're done doing your brake pads, and once you lower your car back down onto the ground, before you put it in gear, make sure to pump the brake pedal approximately 10 to 15 times until you feel your brake pedal give you some really good resistance. If you don't do that, you are going to be sorry, and you're going to go sailing into the car behind you or right into your neighbor's yard or something. Make sure that you pump up the brake pedal. Remember the part where you press the brake pistons in? They need to be exercised a few times to extend them back out and to get them back up to operating length, if you will. So make sure not to take the car out of park. Do not take the car out of park until you've pumped up the pedal. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this.